Are you thinking about building your dream outdoor kitchen or even just a simple barbecue zone? Trust me, before you pick up a single tool or start shopping for materials, there are a few things you really need to know. In this video, I'm sharing the 5 biggest mistakes most people make when building an outdoor kitchen in the UK, mistakes that can cost you hundreds of pounds, weeks of your time, and a whole lot of frustration. I've been through it myself, and I now want to help you sidestep the headaches and save serious money. If you want to get the most out of your budget and still end up with a kitchen that looks incredible, I'll show you exactly how I did mine, step by step with clever hacks, design tips, and the must-have features that truly make a difference. After getting hundreds of questions about my outdoor kitchen series here on YouTube, I decided to put together the ultimate guide, which you can download instantly. Plus, my husband's been adding some extra toys to our setup. So I'll give you an update on what's new and maybe even a sneak peek at a possible extension. So let's get started. I'm making this video because ever since I finished our outdoor kitchen just under a year ago, I've had so many questions from people wanting to know exactly how I did it, more information on materials I used, the measurements, the layout, and all the little details. I remember how hard it was to find straightforward answers when I was planning mine, so I wanted to pull everything together for you here. To make things even easier, I've put all the information together in a downloadable guide with my actual designs, measurements, and all my tips I've learned along the way, including product recommendations. So if you want to follow along with that and how I did, or just need some information on your own build, you'll find the link in the description. Hopefully this video helps you and makes your project so much simpler. Mistake number 1 was not choosing the worktop first. This is a big one, and honestly, it can make or break how your whole kitchen ends up looking. When I first started planning our outdoor kitchen, I thought, let's just get the units built and worry about the worktops later. Huge mistake. I assumed I'd be able to find nice, big, long pieces of granite or some kind of outdoor surface that would just slot perfectly on top. That didn't happen. The reality is, outdoor worktop materials can be trickier to source than you think, and the size, thickness, and even the way they're finished will affect your whole build. In my case, after loads of searching and a couple of failed attempts to get giant slabs, I ended up finding amazing porcelain paving slabs which actually look fantastic and have held up brilliantly. Even a year later, they are immaculately clean, but, and it's a big but, the slabs are a different size to what I'd originally pictured. And because I'd already built the units, I had to fudge and fit and didn't get really any form of overhang that I really wanted. So here's why it matters. You want your outdoor kitchen to look just as polished as an indoor one, with that professional overhang on the worktops. It's not just for looks either. That little bit of extra workspace helps protect your cabinets, protect your outdoor material below from spills and rain, and gives you a much nicer edge to lean on or to wipe down. So my big advice here is, before you build a single cabinet, figure out exactly what worktop material you're going to use and get the measurements locked in. If you can, get the actual slabs delivered and measure them yourself, then build your units slightly smaller so the worktops sit perfectly with a bit of an overhang, just like you'd find in a proper kitchen. Trust me, you'll thank me later when everything lines up beautifully and you don't have to make a load of fiddly adjustments like I did. So in short, know your worktop before you build anything and size your units to fit. It'll save you a lot of hassle and your kitchen will look so much better for it. Mistake 2 was not planning outdoor power and lighting early. Sorting out your electrics is so much easier and cheaper if you do it before adding cladding. I didn't plan properly and now I've got cables running under the decking to our outside socket. Not ideal. If you get an electrician in while the frames are still open, they can run all the wiring for sockets, lighting, and even speakers without any hassle. The less time they spend fiddling around to finish units, the less you'll pay. One thing I did get right was having the speakers wired installed early. Though it sat unused for about 2 years, it meant adding outdoor speakers later was simple. But I really wish I'd had the sockets put in from the start, and it's a pain to add them now. So think about what you'll want. Lights, a fridge, maybe even outdoor speakers. Get a qualified electrician to advise you and sort all the wiring before you finish building. Don't make any mistakes, plan your power and lighting early and save yourself money and stress. Mistake 3 is not investing in the right finishing touches. I tried to save a bit by using standard indoor no more nails adhesives on the side of the barbecue. Unfortunately, it then failed and had to do a repair job. If you're building outside, definitely spend a little bit more on the proper outdoor adhesives. They make such a difference. And using the waterproof outdoor no more nails was an absolute game changer in my kitchen. One thing I'm so glad I invested in was the set of the outdoor silver doors on Amazon. They weren't the cheapest, they started about £50 and went up to about £100, but honestly, they completely elevated the whole kitchen. Not only did they give me easy access to storage, but they also look really sleek and professional, so much better than anything I could have made myself. It's also those details that just make everything feel more finished and high-end. And finally, adding an outdoor fridge was a game changer. It makes using the kitchen so much easier and really gives it a proper kitchen feel. Having cold drinks, snacks and the food you're preparing right there while you're cooking or entertaining is brilliant, and it looks really good. Mistake 4 was not creating enough seating areas. While I'm really happy with the bar area I built, it comfortably seats a push 3 people. I wish I'd planned for more seating options around the kitchen. When we have 4 or more people out there, the bar can feel a bit constricted because there's no space to put your legs on the other side or additional seating nearby. Our main garden table is quite away from the kitchen, so it's not always convenient to move back and forth. If you're building your own kitchen, especially for a family or group that's likely to hang around while you're cooking, make sure you plan enough seating and legroom. I'm actually considering adding another overhang and seating area on the other side of the kitchen to fix this. So think about how many people you want to comfortably accommodate and design your space accordingly. Mistake 5, underestimating British weather and seasonal youth. Having lived in the UK all my life, I knew it gets cold in winter, but I didn't fully appreciate just how unusable the outdoor kitchen would be during the colder months. The chill, the wet weather makes it tough to use for a large part of the year. So looking back, I wish I had designed the space to be a bit more enclosed and invested in some outdoor heaters. There are pull-down sides you can get to enclose the pergola area, which I'm considering adding this year, especially if I can catch the sale. Without some sort of enclosure, rain and cold will limit how much time you can enjoy your kitchen. The covered roofs helps a lot, but if your kitchen is really open, you'll find it hard to use in anything other than perfect weather. Before I wrap up about my outdoor kitchen, let you know about the design guide I've put together that I think will help you even more. I promised I'd show you some of the latest additions my husband's picked up since I finished the kitchen. So I built the kitchen and then he went out and bought 2 massive new toys. The first one is a Traeger grill. We'd been eyeing one of these up for ages and finally grabbed one at half price when our local garden centre was clearing out stock. It wasn't in the original plan, but luckily I'd left enough space on the side so it fits perfectly. It's become our go-to smoker. My husband's pulled pork on it gets rave reviews. I might even build some shelves or a small cupboard next to it to make the corner more useful, so watch this space. The other new addition is a cosy. Again, another garden centre bargain, half price clearing stock, and it even came with a cover, which was a nice bonus. The only thing is, it sits a little too high on the unit next to the pizza oven and the big green egg. It runs on gas, so it's light and portable and can be moved around, but ideally I'd love to build a slightly lower cabinet just for it to sit on. It's mainly for burgers and steaks, so I may just do a little extension for it in the future. And as I've mentioned earlier in this video, we've now added some outdoor speakers, which have been absolutely fantastic for the overall ambience. My husband installed them himself and it was super straightforward, especially since we'd already had the wiring in place for about 2 years as our swim spa speakers gave up a couple of years ago. Honestly, having music or a podcast playing outside just takes the whole space to another level. It makes gatherings feel that much more fun and cozy, and I can't recommend it enough if you want to add a bit of extra atmosphere to your setup. So keep watching because I might end up doing an extension to the outdoor kitchen for these new gadgets on my channel. I'm also thinking about making the seating area bigger, finally sorting out the lighting and just generally adding a few more finishing touches. So if you want to see those updates, make sure you are a subscriber. so much for watching and letting me share these 5 big mistakes I'd never make again when building an outdoor kitchen. Hopefully hearing about my experiences will help you avoid the same pitfalls and save you time, money and frustration on your own project. If you're ready to take your outdoor kitchen build to the next level, I've put together a full ebook packed with everything you need: detailed step-by-step plans, exact measurements, shopping lists, printable checklists, and all the insider tips I learned the hard way. It's designed to make your build easier, more affordable, and way more enjoyable. I'll leave a link in the description box below so you can check it out. Whether you're just starting to plan or already mid-build, this guide will be your go-to resource. If you have any questions or want to share your own outdoor kitchen stories, please drop a comment. I love hearing from you, and don't forget, there's a full series on my YouTube channel where I've broken down all the different steps in how I created my outdoor kitchen. So do make sure you check those out. I will link them all below. So don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future DIY tips and tutorials. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.